The UN Court of Justice has extended time for the filing of the memorials after its ruling in the Gambia genocide case. Young refugees in Ethiopia receive food relief from the UN Refugee Agency during the COVID-19 pandemic. Shortage in drugs is noticeable in pharmacies in Nigeria, causing concerns in the wake of COVID-19. This and more coming on The World Today. Hello, this is Africa TV. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante. Many thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. The International Court of Justice has extended time for the filing of the memorials of the Gambia and the counter memorial of Myanmar in the case concerning the application of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. In January, the ICJ unanimously ruled in favor of the Gambia and ordered Myanmar to take all measures within its power to protect Rohingya minority population from genocide. In a letter dated 24 April, the Gambia requested the court to grant at least a 3-month extension for the filing of the memorials in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Gambia noted that the principle of equality of arms would entitle Myanmar to a similar extension of time for filing its counter memorial. By this request, the submission dates have now shifted from 23rd July to 23rd October 2020 and from 25th January to 23rd July 2021. In a counter letter on April 28, Myanmar indicated that although the COVID-19 pandemic did not constitute a sufficient justification for the Gambia's request, it would be for the court to decide. And from that development, next we move on to Ethiopia, where United Nations Refugees Agency is providing food assistance for children in the country amidst the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. More than 40,000 refugees are living in the Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa, and the UN agency is devising means to fast-track its support to the targeted people. Well, no coronavirus case is being reported in the refugees camp so far, but officials are on alert to contain the situation in case of any outbreak. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Refugee children in Addis Ababa receive food assistance. There are over 1,200 children in the city who either fled to Ethiopia unaccompanied or were separated from relatives en route from countries like Eritrea, Yemen, Somalia, Sudan and South Sudan.
We're in lockdown in Ethiopia, especially where refugees cannot move around and top up with the meager needs that they have. I mean, the meager incomes that they have. So it's very clear their needs, and we're trying to top up what the government is trying to provide here today.
There are about 27,000 urban refugees living in Addis Ababa. The UN Refugee Agency says that because of the pandemic, it has changed the way it helps these refugees and the over 700,000 living in camps across the country.
For instance, now we're not doing biometrics, we're not doing fingerprinting because that's a hygiene component. We've taken that out and we use photos instead, and we use other means. We've had to redo or rethink the modalities that we use, but it is possible. We have done food distribution. Also, people come in smaller groups, so they don't come, so maybe the head of household comes instead of the entire family, as an example. So that is feasible.
But operations have slowed down because of social distancing. The UNHCR says food distribution that would normally take at least 2 days in the camps is now taking more time because the agency has to observe all the regulations that have been put out in a bid to combat COVID-19. So far, no COVID-19 cases have been confirmed in refugee camps and other locations sheltering refugees and asylum seekers in Ethiopia. But the agency says it remains alert.
And also looking at, in case the national and regional structures would not be able to respond to the COVID pandemic, to set up quarantine and isolation centers also in the camps. So we've had to reallocate some funds. We've received some additional funds as well.
Globally, UNHCR has called for an extra $490 million as part of the UN's revised $6.7 billion appeal for COVID-19 to help strengthen national health and sanitation systems. But the pandemic adds further uncertainty about the future for these refugees.
From the report there in Ethiopia, we come back home and report on land matters because land dispute in Sukuta Salaji has resulted into demolition of many structures in the site. The demolition activities supervised by agents from the physical planning unit led to the arrest of 16 people whose bail condition was to be reviewed on Tuesday by the Bruceby police station. Here's more details of that.
The bail bond for 16 youth who were arrested for allegedly obstructing the armed unit of the Gambia Police Force on its operation in Sukuta Salaji has been rescheduled to June 9. The group in the areas was arrested during the destruction of several residential structures in Sukuta Salaji on reasons that the place was meant for government reserve. Last week, government agents led a demolition exercise of dozens of newly constructed structures, resulting to a massive confrontation from dwellers who are mostly youth. Sekou Bojang, one of the youths, told iAfrica Good Morning program on Tuesday that he was at a risk of becoming homeless. His ownership of the land he lives on was on inheritance from forefathers, but the marching out orders came to them no prior notice.
Doubts me because ndol fale ka jandoku biri ndol famba dindi yaren kana kino dandam fale ni wulo kono for be ndol fananga inherit from our fathers. Then I decided to build a house there to transfer with my family. That's why ndabijang ndingol bijane aninna muso anin na ndoma so situation on imbolo nyama project on lafaka garden start jang, so that's why I put the borehole there, then put the garden start where I go so then start the development. Correct, these people came and destruct the development I'm doing at the right moment from Buka Geo Sotono, because borehole yala wire sabale, I don't know what they did to the borehole. So since they do they make this destruction here, I couldn't get water. And secondly, na broda solfana dal bijane min yala ko yolfana be boyle fo yala boholo sunya na la waya go sole ni tada, and all be costa PIU because without PIUs fiscal plan manta hanja kananto la keno kono kana institution. So PIU fana wala kebal wala interior ministry, they are not doing their work because government among ko mo clean na tam ayala symbol use like atelong interior ministry purkana ka institution of kajang. So I heard of that call, they give them $2 million for them to lead them to do this destruction.
At Bruceby, Fatou Jawumane spoke to iAfrica on their arrest. She insisted that they didn't obstruct them during the demolition.
Initially when we came, they said we were obstructing them. When they came to demolish, we stopped them from demolishing the place. But how can we do that? They had the guns, they had the tear gas, they had the whole military behind them. So they said we obstructed them. And they did a rampage. They've destroyed many homes by the time we even noticed they were there.
Land disputes remains one of the major challenges faced by the current government on the road to reformation of the old system. Scenes around the subject have resulted to the death of at least 4 people since the coming of the Barrow administration some 3 years ago. Reporting for iAfrica News, I'm Lamin Sane.
And from the report by Lamin Sane, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV, and now to the rest of the stories. Now, the head of the Pan-African delegation in the Gambia has said that there is a lot more to do in Africa despite achievements in the creation of the African Union. Taking part on a Pan-African panel on Monday evening on Africa TV, Honorable Sidia Jatta said if Africa had created a continental army as suggested by the continent's forefathers, it would have dealt with more crises or major crises on the continent.
Nkrumah and others were in the Casablanca bloc. We were at the forefront of the fight for continental unity. And I think each time we celebrate, we must give them credit, because Nkrumah spent all his life fighting for the unity of the African continent, because he saw that unless Africa is united, we would still be having monumental problems of development and defense of the continent. You've seen all the crises that have been taking place in different countries. And what he had suggested, if that had taken place, for example, a continental army, you would have been able to deal with the crisis in the Congo, would have been able to deal with the crisis in Rwanda, we would have been able to deal with the crisis in Burundi, in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, and of course, Libya, which is now has become almost ungovernable because of what had happened there. So these are some of the important things that Nkrumah advocated and worked for. But unfortunately, they were not active in his lifetime. We are still moving towards them, but these are absolute necessities for the continent to be able to defend itself and to defend its integrity and independence.
Monday, 25th May, marks the 57th anniversary of the creation of what was initially known as the Organization of African Unity. The day is celebrated worldwide as African Liberation Day. Next to Nigeria, where Nigerian pharmacies are faced with drug scarcity as the supply in medicine drastically dropped due to the effects of the coronavirus global pandemic. Last year, Nigeria spent over $1 billion to import medicine into the country, mainly from China and India. But the COVID-19 has changed the trend. The impact of the global crisis has significantly affected the health system, according to the country's National Food and Drug Administration. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Weng Sunday runs this pharmacy in north-central Plateau State. The decade-old business provides a wide range of pharmaceutical products to thousands of locals at an affordable rate. But not anymore. Since the coronavirus hit, drug supply has drastically declined, and that has affected prices too.
It has shown already. In the last 2 months, business is not the same. You can see that you're not even seeing the reps who used to come around. And when you see them and you ask, okay, we need this, they tell you it's not available. And sometimes when they even say, it's coming, you now hear the price has gone up. So there's a big transition for us. There are so many things that have changed within this period of the COVID-19 pandemic. And then customers react to price more than anything else.
Nigeria relies heavily on imports, one of its top 10 being pharmaceutical products. The National Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, says 70% of medicines consumed in Nigeria are imported from China and India. In 2019 alone, the country spent $1.5 billion on pharmaceutical imports. China and India, Nigeria's major suppliers, have also been badly hit by COVID-19, slowing down importation. The impact of this may be a full-blown medical crisis.
In terms of the effect of COVID pandemic on availability of drug, it has had a very, very serious effect. I was at a meeting, African farmer meeting, and it is the same story in the country. A manufacturer was buying 1 kilogram of medicine of drug, active pharmaceutical ingredient, for $31. From the same supplier, it is now $600. From $31 to $600. That is even the fact that this person wouldn't have even gotten it. So it is the same thing with our manufacturers here, because we don't manufacture anything in Nigeria, only water for local manufacturers. That's the only thing they can get in Nigeria. Everything has to be imported.
Seriously, business is going to suffer. You see, in pharmacy business, one thing we work with is expiry dates. We might have some drugs expire on us. We've not sold them, because if customers are not coming to buy, then the stock we had in the past will just be there. And then people that used to buy drugs because of health conditions that they are managing might not be able to afford those drugs. So if things don't get back to normal, there's a lot that is at stake, both to the customers, to the us who are running the business, and everyone who is involved in the process.
A report by Trading Economics shows Nigeria's import bill grew by 26.4% in 2019 to hit $47.4 billion, a situation economists consider unsafe for its ailing economy. They suggest revamping industries and empowering local manufacturers as the way out of its import dependence.
From the report there in Nigeria, finally we end this news bulletin in Kenya, where Kenyan software developers and engineers are taking advantage of the COVID-19 period to strengthen their business as the world goes online. With many people forced to work from home due to the coronavirus pandemic, the demand for technology service is growing high in different parts of the world. This helped the technology industry to even create job opportunities for others as the fight against the coronavirus intensifies. Let's have more details of that in this report.
As the day starts, it's business unusual for Jeremiah Dindi, a software engineer. A lot has changed nowadays as more and more people work from home. The demand for the services of software developers is on the rise, largely from clients seeking innovative solutions during these COVID-19 times.
We are proving to be resilient because of the nature of the situation right now. There's a need for contactless interactions, but people still need the services as usual. So there's an increased demand of the platforms to avail that, for people to be able to provide the services, to provide the products remotely or contactless.
These workplace changes have seen many software developers working from home and handling their tasks remotely.
Some of them who actually embraced working from home and remote best practices earlier on are not finding it to be a totally new thing to work with. And this is the source of this resilience, right? And it's emerging because of how they crafted their workplaces to ensure that engineers, for instance, are able to work flexible hours and they're able to work remotely.
The number of information technology jobs advertised has increased as firms seek to bolster their online operations.
Today in technology, right, in the bucket of technology, a lot of new careers are going to emerge, right? It means if someone can create a website, if you choose to be a website designer, for instance, you can create the graphics of a website, you can take photos as a photographer. So demand is going to actually come up in the area of tech, even though some industries are already hurting and having layoffs, right? So from a website, you can see the people who are writing content writers are going to have a lot of opportunity for them to showcase about different products and services when it comes to writing copy.
As the demand for such services increases, there's also interest from those who want to try their hand in the tech industry, and Jeremiah has some expert advice for them.
They say in software development, they say Google is your friend. So I'm sure if you just Google, how to maybe come up with a website or development, you will see a bunch of results over there. But ones I've used personally is Code Academy platform. And then there is also players like Oracle, who have been graceful enough during this period to give their platforms for a period of time, a limited period of time, for you to be able to learn or to get the skill for free. Otherwise, these resources are normally paid for.
As the fight against COVID-19 continues and the world adjusts to the new normal, there is no doubt that many IT positions will still need to be filled, helping those in the sector secure their careers. For software developers, it's indeed a learning curve period. They're getting projects, yes, but the only difference is that they're working from home and they're doing it even better.
Kenya, we finally brings this news bulletin to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, you can also log on our website on africa.tv. Many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and bye for now.
Badingol men be Gambia anin Gambia e bantala mbe nga nyillon ko TRRC bala doko sallabang le kono andi la doko be lori men kan wala hadama dingol men na nyanto tinyata nyim banko kanjang kabrin July karo 1994 sangola kana January karo 2017 sangola woto momo yalon ko e mantorata nyi wato kono andi man futa TRRC follow pour que la kuma kan di safo me statement no ye fere ke ye futa TRRC ye la kuma kan di atariya nyama yo pour kana TRRC ye fen kenam pasoti kana futa je wala fen dépense pour ka futa TRRC ke la kuma kan di abe sendi le male bare be nyim fanan ko en la ko pour ka statement no fanan di amanke ko momo yela kuma kan di TRRC ibelo la television o nyatole mobe jube wotude tele bulu ni laptop ka testify mobe yela moy mobe je ise o kenole bar ni ma lefo fanan na ise kuma kango dinole ayatara molke kango moy barete nyaada jela nindu man lafo fanana ise sino inin commissional damma aliye kacha ayatara mote bole kalama andu nimme lafta kanyinke ise katoke yin telephone number kumandi pour ka TRRC sotono 7704988 7704988 wala 7415937 7415937 ala baraka mobe sa dake TRRC dokot
kaspaw bi jeena dipi demba hettali ma rek ni jaay nga jindal ma kaspaw bala yere yi di wow dama passé
fi amu fi ben xaalis la amut wa may ma tuti waaw Mamadou waa ma ne dimbale ñu rek nga yónni ñu cash power léegi suñ cash power moo jeex depuis démb ok baax na
waaye yow ni jaay jaaxle naa de yow Mamadou naka lam ñoo jëndalee cash power